Hi everyone. If you're interested in making sales or closing clients on discovery calls, then listen up. Now, I recently made another video about the steps to close on your discovery calls, but this time around, we are going to learn 12 different types of closes. Now, yes, this is more of a sales video, but in any case, let's go ahead and jump right in to the 12 types of closes you can use on your discovery calls. Now, the first type of close you can use is concessional/conditional, which means, okay, so you only have $4,000 available in your budget for coaching or consulting or whatever. Okay, well, if you can put up that $4,000, I can offer you 90% of my offer, or 100%, or 110%, or 70%, or whatever it may be. The point is that you want to consider those two words, which are conditional or concessional, which pretty much comes down to, okay, if you give me ABC, I'll give you XYZ, and it's somewhat of a fair trade for both of us. The next type of close are probably the most important or the most valuable or useful on earth, which are urgency and scarcity. Now, I've definitely talked about these before, how these are the strongest buying triggers on earth, but in any case, the point here is that urgency means limited time, and scarcity means limited amount. Now, you can position this pretty much any way you want. You can employ urgency by implying some type of limited time amount. This means, okay, this is only available for the next week, the next month, the next 3 months, or whatever. Now, that is urgency, which is limited time. Now, on the other hand, you can also employ scarcity, which means limited amount. So I know that's kind of similar, but the point is that you can say, oh, this is only available to the next 5 clients, to the next 10 callers. The next type of close is with immovable guidelines. So this pretty much kind of puts yourself in a little bit of a subservient role, which pretty much means, okay, well, I would love to offer you this, but I can only offer that in this situation. So I know this is kind of similar to some of the options we've already touched on, but the point here is to take the blame off of yourself. So, oh, I'd love to offer you that, but my business says I can only offer that for 1 week. But my business says this is the lowest price I can go. But my boss says that this is the best I can do. Just anything like that takes the blame off of you. The next type of close is one of my favorites actually, which is to make them default to buying. Now, this means that just let them know, okay, well, if you will just pay that $100, $500, $1,000 or whatever, that's cool. And then if you don't like what we did, then we can refund your money and no problems or no questions asked. Now, this close actually benefits from one of the earlier points that we mentioned, which is that humans naturally default to, well, let's just say to the default or to the status quo. So if they have already paid, let's just say $100 to watch your webinar or something like that. Then if you say, all right, pay to watch this webinar, and if you don't like it, just ask for a refund. Most people just won't do it. Now, this isn't meant to be trickery or something like that, but this actually is able to help them get out of their own way to sample or demo whatever your offer is. And just as some personal examples, I know I have a fasting app, which I'm kind of whatever about, but because they signed me up for a subscription model, I pay them $4 a month or whatever it is, even though I don't use that app that much. So anyway, the point is that if you make paying the default, people will default and most likely stick with that option. The next closing option is probably the most traditional, which is the assumptive close. Now, in other words, this means that you assume that they are or will buy whatever you're offering them. Now, this can kind of be considered as slightly more aggressive, but the point is that when you assume they are going to buy, you ask them questions like, okay, so what size would you like that in? Okay, so which package would you like? Okay, so how soon would you like to start? And things like that that assume that they are going to buy, which actually can make a big difference. The next type of close to employ is paring down. In other words, that if somebody says your $5,000 price tag is too high, you can tell them, okay, great. So what should I take away from my offer to make this more palatable? So the short story here is that if anybody has objections or complaints about your price, your number one goal is not to lower the price, but to add value. So anyway, like I said, is you can actually ask them, okay, so 5,000 is too much for this offer. That's okay. And then you lay out the offer for them. Okay, so which one of these things would you like to take away to make the price more manageable? Now, if your offer was crafted solidly, let's say, then they won't want to get rid of anything. The next way to close is to flat out prioritize. Now, if you've had a interactive conversation so far, which you should have, then you probably already know some of their obstacles or problems and some of their goals as well. Now, that data is actually a gold mine because you can let them know, okay, so it seems like your number one problem is XYZ. Therefore, that's what we will work on. Or, okay, so it seems like your main goal or future outcome is ABC. So the point is that you want to prioritize or help them to prioritize their goals, because pretty much everyone has multiple goals, whether it be on social media, for sales, or for whatever. Now, for better or worse, I know it might be better to have less goals than more, but one way or another, most businesses and entrepreneurs do have multiple goals, often that do conflict. So anyway, the point is that you want to help them prioritize their goals. So let them know, okay, so you want A, B, C, and D. Now, clearly, D is the most important here, so let's go ahead and zoom in on that. Now, the next type of close is the applicant, or kind of playing hard to get. Now, this generally works better for high ticket or more exclusive offers, but the point is that in this situation, you want to make your prospect prove themselves. In other words, well, I only take people who are willing to commit 6 months. I only am willing to work with people who have $10,000 to invest. I'm only willing to work with people who do XYZ, who pay XYZ, who have ABC amount of time committed or anything like that. Now, I'm actually a big fan of mixing this close into pretty much any close, but the point is that you want to dabble a little bit into making them prove themselves to you, or to, let's just say, applying and making yourself less of a commodity. The next type of discovery call close is one of my favorites and one of the simplest and one of the most effective, which is pretty much this, that once you find out their problems and their goals, you summarize, kind of like we've already mentioned. You say, okay, so this is your problem, this is your goal, and then you flat out end with this line, or not end, but you flat out give them the call to action with this line, which is this. Would you like help with that? Now, I know that seems extremely simple, like what kind of a overly simplistic close is that? But this actually works and it gets right to the point. So if somebody wants more Instagram followers, more clients to book more discovery calls, more sales, more follow-up, anyway, whatever it might be, the point is that if you flat out ask them, oh, so you want XYZ, cool. Would you like help with that? Now, if you ran your call decently, then this probably will lead to them saying yes one way or another, which gives you a much more welcome opening to your offer and pitch. The next type of close is to offer options. Now, you can call this payment plans, you can call this different levels of service, but the point is that if you offer people options, they have been proven to be more likely to buy. Now, there's some science that says that if people are given 2 options, they usually pick the lower priced option, but if you give them 3 options, they will usually choose the middle or higher option. Now, not to get too into pricing strategy here, but the point is that if you give people options, some type of variety to choose from, whether that be 2 or 3 options or whatever your situation might be, they are more likely to buy. Now, I know that this does run a little bit contrary to one of the main things I teach in my 6-month program, More Calls, More Clients, which is usually to only offer one offer. But there's usually a little bit of debate in pretty much any tactic. So anyway, the point is that you may want to at least consider offering more than one option. The next type of close is called the thermometer, which is a little bit more based on their response. Now, as you might have guessed, this is much more reliant on how they feel about a particular problem or goal or whatever. So going back to the thermometer model here is that you want to ask them, or you can ask them, all right, so how important is XYZ problem to you? You want to give them the level so that they can choose, oh, this is a level 2 problem, this is a level 9 problem, or something like that. And of course, you can take this a few directions. You can ask them how big of a problem is XYZ, or how important of a goal is XYZ, or how soon are you looking to reach XYZ. Anyway, the point is that you want to give them some leeway into giving you an actual semi-creative answer, let's say. And the next close option is useful for various reasons, but is pretty much this, which is to book your next meeting. Now, this tactic actually has tons of benefits for sales, for follow-up, for sales funnels, and more. But the point is that there will be a decent amount of calls or prospects where they really aren't ready to buy, whether that be because of permission or timing or pricing or whatever else it might be. But really, this all boils down to effective follow-up. Now, you may have heard before how 99% of all salespeople only follow up once or twice. And on top of that, how 80 or 90% of all sales happen after the 6th touch. So anyway, the point is that follow-up is extremely important to keep in touch and just let them know that you're still there. So the point is that if your prospect has booked a discovery call with you, then they have probably booked discovery calls with other people as well. And given that you were not the first or last or most convincing, well, hopefully you were, but in any case, the point is that there are huge advantages to simply throwing in this last question. Okay, great. So after you talk to my competitors, let's say, let's book another call in 5 days to see how they went. Let's book a call in 1 week or in 10 days or whatever. Now, to be fair, you probably want to aim for 10 days or less. Otherwise, they will forget a lot of what you spoke about. But the main goal here is to book a follow-up call, preferably sooner than later. And the absolute most important close you can employ is to hit the like button and subscribe below. If you learned something interesting today, it does help a lot. For more help booking high-ticket calls and clients, then grab my free guide below for the 20 steps to book more calls and clients. So how do you close calls? Are there any closes I missed? Definitely let us know in the comments below. Well, that wraps us up for today. Thanks everyone for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.